Alrighty, y'all, here's one of these trade-ins that I got for that battery-powered snapper. This is a Craftsman Briggs & Stratton 6.25 horsepower. It's about 12 or 13 years old. Everything is in good shape on it. It's just really dirty. The bag's okay. The bag does have, it's not a rip, but the little covering has come off of the back a little bit, but it's still perfectly functional as is. Oil, plenty of oil. Looking under the deck here, just got to clean out from under the deck and sharpen the blade, hopefully. Guy did say that it will start but not stay running, so let's smell the gas. Gas does smell kind of old, so probably a carb cleaning. But let me see. Let me actually turn it around here, and I just want to see if it'll start up, and hopefully it will. So let's find out. Okay, so no dice to start off with here, but I did notice that the carburetor is kind of loose. The carb mount is loose. So we're going to take the air filter cover off and see if we can at least get that tightened back up. Might just be sucking too much air. We will see though, so let me get started. So I want to show you real quick what I was talking about with that bracket that holds on the carburetor. So, you know, carburetor goes on like so, and I've already taken this one off obviously, and it bolts to this mounting bracket. This mounting bracket bolts to the engine, and the engine bolts right there, and it bolts right there. And as you can see, it is a little bit loose. So when it's a little bit loose, it can sometimes cause it to not sit on the air tube correctly, and cause an air leak, and that'll help contribute to it not running. So 3/8 inch bolt, we're going to tighten those two bolts up there, or 3/8 inch socket, excuse me. I like to interchange those words a lot for some reason, but yeah, that one's really loose actually. So we're tight on that one, and we're about to be tight on this one here. And that one was already tight, so that one right there was the only loose one. So it's tight now. I'll get into the carburetor here. Like I said, I do smell old gas, so we'll see if it's clogged up or if it's just got a little minor clog in it. Probably ain't gonna be much. And for all I know, it could just need a spark plug, who knows. But let's investigate further. So, broke it open, and as y'all can see, we're pretty clogged. Varnished gas. The jet somehow is isn't that clogged, believe it or not. But the hole going up to the carburetor here, in the kind of the main jet area where the main jet butts up to, and the carburetor is kind of clogged. So a little bit of carb cleaner, and I think we'll be good with this thing. So I cleaned the carburetor, put it back together. I showed you all that I tightened up the bracket. There was also no air filter in it, so for the time being I put a used one in it. I'll put a new one in it if everything checks out. Y'all saw how gummed up it was. Like I said, it wasn't too terrible. It just had a bunch of old gas in it. just use a screwdriver and some carb cleaner just to kind of pick it all off, pick as much off as I could, put a little bit of fresh gas in it, prime it a couple times. Let's see if it'll start for us. Okay, so something's still not right about it. I'll have to keep looking a little bit, or at least maybe try and start it a few more times to see if I can at least get it to stay running. I'm trying to adjust the throttle so that it sounds decent. I started out too fast and then went too slow. So let me investigate a little bit further and see what I can find with this thing. So I know sometimes I say that I blow air through the carburetor to try and reset the choke or reset the floating needle and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do this one, see if I can get it to run. All I do is, if this is plastic, you don't have to worry about it, and it won't hurt since this is metal to bend it back. I just take the air nozzle and spray a little bit of air through there. It almost seems like the carburetor's dry, but it is priming. It primes great. I'll pull it here. Cut right back off. So I wonder if the needle is stuck and it won't let the gasket down there. We'll keep looking. I think the needle was stuck in the up position, which sometimes happens. Because after I blew air through the gas line here into the carburetor, it seemed to, at first it didn't blow anything through the carburetor, and then it, blew it through the hole in the power bulb and the carburetor right here. So I wonder if carburetor or the needle just didn't come unseated when I originally fix the mower. So let's turn it back over here. I mean, as y'all can see, the thing is priming excellent. Hopefully it's not going to leak gas on me now. Every once in a while they do that, but let's see. It's priming good. I ran for a little bit longer that time, but I'll keep on working here. It's a little frustrating that it's still not working right for me, but might toss it. Sometimes these things don't like running without air filters on them. So let me toss this air filter back on. As you can see, I've got to put a new one on it. But this one is just old. It's clean though, still. Like I said, sometimes they don't like running without air filters. And I just want to eliminate all possibilities before I break open this carburetor again. So, prime it once or twice, 3 times here. Yeah, there's still some sort of blockage, so I'm going to have to keep on working on this thing, but better than it was, so let's try. Let's keep on working here. So we're getting a little better, a little bit better, a little bit better. Got it to where it will actually stay on. It might have just been old gas. I mean, I probably should have drained the tank out, but I figured that with a clean carburetor that it would still run on old gas, but it might have been really old gas. I may have had too much of a lofty expectation of that gas that was in it. So we'll let it run here and see if things sound a little bit better. My hope is that they will. I'll send it on down to the back and let it run for a little while and see what happens. So fast forward a little bit here. As y'all can see, I do have it cleaned up. I, for some reason, cannot remedy the problem of it starting and then stalling. But on about the 4th or the 5th time that you do it, it will stay running for you. So I'll show you all that here in this final look and start. I have tried everything. I've put a new float in the carburetor. I've cleaned out the carburetor a couple more times just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. I've blown out all the jets in the carburetor. Everything looks like it's sealed up good with the primer bulb, air filter, and gasket on the intake tube. I took the intake tube off. I took the ignition coil off, and I made sure the flywheel key was not sheared, and all those checked out good. So I'm kind of stuck, and I do know that I could, sell this mower, although it will be at a reduced price. And with the amount of mowers that I have to get ready right now, that probably is one of my better options. It might just be that the carburetor's not 100%, even though that I cleaned it out and cleaned all the jets out and stuff. But good news is it cleaned up well, and it's got a bag, and the self-propel works, and it will run and cut grass. So to somebody, this will have decent value to it. If I try and put it up for sale and it doesn't go anywhere, and I get to a stopping point, I'll give it a look, a little bit further of a look. But again, I'm stumped, because I would think the carburetor is good, and I don't want to put another carburetor on it right now. So let me give this thing a start, and I'll show y'all exactly what it's doing. And if some of y'all have another suggestion, feel free to let me know. But I think it's still fuel related, because I put a different spark plug in it as well, and it didn't change anything about it. So let's start this thing up. And it'll do this a few times, and then it'll kick over and stay running for us. So we'll do it. interesting because it'll stay running a little bit longer each time. So it is getting worse. I do have it cleaned up. So I'm going to be gone for a few days. So I probably order the carburetor when I get back and put a carburetor on it, because I think this one's about done. So, yep, it is clean, but I need to put a carburetor on it, because it's just, sometimes these things go out, I guess, and this one's one of them. So I'll throw a new carburetor on it. That way somebody will have actually a decent mower, because I know I could pull about $120 out of it. Right now it may be worth $60. Probably not even that much. So, well worth the investment, and that'll be what I do next. So the new carburetor came in, as y'all saw earlier. I have tried to clean this one once or twice, and I don't know if sometimes these things are just fail to the point where you can't really use them anymore or what. So, you know, after like the second or third time I try and mess with these things, I don't like to worry with them anymore when I can just buy one and have it shipped to me within 3 or 4 days and pay only $10 for them. So that's the main reason. It's not really because I'm lazy. I'm just trying to find the most efficient way to fix them, and also, since they're not for my use and for other people's use, I want to try and make them as reliable as possible for them. And just buying a new carburetor helps me feel a little bit more confident about them. So I've shown kind of how to do this a few times already. I've already taken the air filter cover off and the air filter off. I've got to put a new air filter on it too. And you've got 3 5/16 inch bolts here that hold on this air filter housing here, that holds on to the carburetor, and then you got 2 3/8 inch bolts that hold it on to the engine. Just make sure you clamp off your fuel line, and also when you take off the carburetor, you just have to get the linkage off as well, or get the carburetor disconnected from the linkage also, which is very easy to do. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to install this new carburetor, and we're going to give this thing, hopefully it'll be good, we're going to give this thing a start, and hopefully it will actually stay running for us this time. So the new carburetor is on here. As you can see, there are 2 3/8 inch bolts that you have to take off to get to this, and then also disconnecting the linkage up there to just pushing or bringing the carburetor down and out. Connected the fuel line, and these carburetors come with new gaskets as well and an O-ring. So I'll put the O-ring or the gasket on here. Usually it's easier to put it onto the air filter cover, since there are mounting points for it there. So we put that on there, and just put those 5/16 inch bolts back on, and this thing will fit on really well since it's a new gasket. And this gasket actually allows the primer bulb to function correctly. If you have a bad gasket, then more often than not your primer bulb won't function. Or if it's like this Murray self-propel I'm going to show you all in a little while, I don't know why it won't prime, but a gasket is always a good go-to to start off with. So we will see if this works. I'll put it back on, we'll crank it up, hopefully we'll be good. So as y'all can see, I've got it cleaned up, ready to go already, as y'all have seen earlier. Self-propel does work on it. It's got your, engaged drive here, where you pull your handle back and then you release it just a little bit to loosen it up. not too bad of a system. It's just kind of hard to disengage the self-propel without trying to stop the engine with that all-in-one handle. But yeah, so let me put this down, and we'll hopefully see this thing start and stay running with this new carburetor on it. Fast. I'm going to see if I can that's running a little fast, so I'm gonna try and work on this a little bit to get it at the right speed. Shouldn't take too much, and I'll show y'all running at a good speed there. So silly me, the reason why it's running fast is because I didn't reconnect this into the carburetor, into the hole in the carburetor. So it's pulling it running wide open. That would definitely be the problem. After you work on, I don't know how many I've worked on this year so far. We're getting close to 70. You tend to miss a thing here and there, so I'm gonna take the bolts back off, hook it into the little eye on the carburetor. We'll take it back down there, and we should be in business then. So here we are at take, I don't know what now. Seems like I've taken this thing down here I don't know how many times to get it going. Primed a couple times. Let's see what it'll do. I think we got it good this time. We will see. The engine is hunting just a little bit. I'm going to let it hopefully get used to this new carburetor. That air filter's pretty dirty too. I'm gonna throw an air filter on it, see if it runs a little bit better. So as you can see, I just had that old air filter in just to kind of keep its place for a little while. It's really dirty, it's not clogged, but on a mower like this, might as well put a new one on it. Got a new one on there. It's still running. It's running okay. It's not the best. I'm throw the self-propel on and see if that changes anything. So it isn't perfect, but I mean, see if I can get this all to turn off. So it isn't perfect, but we'll let it run for a little bit. Maybe it just needs to get adjusted to the new carburetor. I mean, overall the mower is pretty quiet. So I'm going to do a little bit of tweaking and adjusting on it, but I'll turn it off and it should restart for us. So let's see. So yeah, I mean, it restarts right back up with no priming, so it's good on that end. It's just not the best running one. But I'll do a little more tweaking on it. Maybe see if I can get it just a little bit better. But I'll end the video here, since this one's probably already getting kind of lengthy. These old Craftsman mowers are pretty good for what they are. The Briggs ones are a little bit better than the Tecumseh ones, obviously. It's got a very big bag on it, which is nice. And you have your, your self-propel mechanism. I haven't seen one of these self-propels broken yet, which is a plus, as this mower is about 16 years old, roughly. About 13, 14 years old, sorry. But a good mower here. This is the first of 3 that I'm putting carburetors on. I've got a John Deere, which is a regular push mower, regular John Deere push mower coming up next, as well as a Murray self-propel mower that's about the same age as this, but it looks almost brand new. It looks like it hasn't been used much. Those are coming up. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. And I've noticed that I'm over 100 subscribers now, which is great. So keep watching, keep liking, and keep commenting. I just kind of do this to keep folks entertained and hopefully enjoying some more videos. So for the meantime, I'll be having a couple more coming pretty soon after this one gets published. So until then, thank y'all for watching.